celebrity chef Mark
The
Kalick.
one, the only, Chef Mark.
Our buddy, Chef Mark Kalick.
We have celebrity chef Mark Kalick.
Hi everyone, this is Chef Mark with Appliance Factory Fine Lines, and I'm here with your Dial of Chef questions. I had somebody send in a great question, and this question is from Mildred. It says, I have a very small convection oven. It came new with absolutely no directions on how to operate it. I never know how long to cook a recipe or what temp to use. Could you help me? Thank you. I'm happy to help. So, oftentimes these smaller ovens are a combination oven. So they do a couple of things. They're a microwave as well as an oven. And the benefit to that is because they have a smaller cavity, they heat up really, really quickly. Oftentimes some of the ones like this GE profile oven, you don't have to preheat at all. A larger oven like this is also a convection oven, and it's about double the size. So you're definitely going to want to preheat this. As far as cooking times and temperatures, with convection, typically, you want to reduce your oven temperature by about 25 degrees to keep your cooking times consistent to what a recipe might say. However, modern convection ovens, they typically do that for you. So if you set it at 350 convection, and of course convection is a fan that's circulating air and it reduces hot spots, you're actually reducing the oven temperature automatically to about 325. So your standard cooking times will hold true. What I do is I put everything on 375 convection and then I adjust my cooking times. Remember, time is the worst indicator of doneness. So I oftentimes hear people say, well, I cook my steak for 4 minutes on one side and then 3 minutes on the other side. And there's so many variables there. How hot your pan might be, what kind of oil you're using, what kind of steak, how much marbling it has, how warm it was before it went into the pan. And I think the same is true when you're using an oven as well. There's so many variables. I might roast potatoes all the time, but the potatoes might have more moisture content. Maybe I have more seasoning and oil on them before I add them into my oven. Maybe my oven was preheated more. So what I like to do is choose a temperature, 375, and I choose a setting, convection, and I cook everything on that. And I adjust my time like this. Let's say it says 45 minutes for roasted potatoes. I set my timer for about half the amount of time, so maybe 25, maybe even 30 minutes, and then I check it. Now look, I'm like, are those done? How do I know when they're done? When they're golden brown delicious, GBD. And if they need a little bit more time, I set it for half the amount of time that I think they're gonna cook. So let's say, about 15 minutes more, set it for 7 minutes. Then I check them, and then I set them for 4 minutes. And then I just kind of keep track, and then I write in there. Convection, 375, and you know what? They actually took 38 minutes instead of 45 minutes. Having your recipes cook faster is definitely a benefit of convection, and I understand for some people that could be a little tricky because they're used to having recipes be really, really standard. But remember, recipes are just a guideline. So Mildred, I hope that answers your question without knowing exactly what appliances you have. This is really the best I can do as far as speculating which piece of equipment you have. And as far as how it operates, they all pretty much are very, very similar. On and off, convection bake, and I prefer convection bake over convection roast. It's a little bit more consistent, less browning typically, and then just set the temperature and hit start. I think that's going to help you out. So anyway, thanks for the questions. You can send your questions to dialchefmark@gmail.com, and I'll make sure I make the answers in video form. Thanks for tuning in.